Chaos. Hi guys, Primal Chaos here. Welcome to the channel. Now, many moons ago, 6 months or so, one of the first videos I ever did on this channel, maybe even the first, was Parkway Drive. And one thing that was quite interesting to me is, as we all know, like any followers of the channel will know, this channel started because even though I've always had a love of all kinds of music and metal and very diverse tastes, metal particularly, I always stayed away from bands that had more aggressive vocals, you know, like growling and stuff like that, gutturals, that sort of thing. Just because I'm more of a melody guy at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. And part of the impetus behind making this channel was I wanted to explore a bunch of bands that I knew had amazing ability and talent that I was missing out on because of that minor prejudice, right? And so a lot of my friends, most of my friends I work with and stuff like that are all into bands like Parkway and you know, August Burns Red and whatever, all of those hardcore, deathcore bands. And, you know, I thought, I've got to give these guys a chance. And I did some Parkway and I found out, to my amusement, that a lot of their stuff isn't as heavy as I had originally anticipated. And not only that, within a week or two, I was actually really interested in extreme vocals. I became really interested in gutturals, the production of such sounds, screams, pig squeals, all that sort of stuff. To the point where I'm always walking around the house going, nowadays. It's really annoying to everyone around me. But Parkway was one of the first. And to be honest, I still haven't gone back and explored early Parkway. I need to do that. That's on the agenda at some point. Because most dyed-in-the-wool Parkway fans who've been around since day one, that's probably kind of their wheelhouse. They prefer that style of like more aggressive Parkway. And I don't know that I've ever given them the benefit of the doubt on that one. I've always sort of stuck with songs that ended up being remarkably closer to pop rock than what I would call metalcore, right? I don't know where this one sits. This is a new one. It's called Glitch. It came out, I don't know, a week or two ago. And I have a feeling this is going to be more along the trajectory of moving forward, where a lot of bands that were aggressive 10 years ago are starting to find new homes amongst a more, more accessible kind of genre of heavy rock, right? So that's my prediction. That's where I think we're going to go with this one. I think it's still going to have a lot of the elements of Parkway, but sort of maybe distilled down into a tincture that's kind of a little bit more palatable for the masses rather than niche sort of, you know, pit demons. It would be like, you know, at home in any sort of deathcore or metalcore wall of death, right? So let's take a look. I'm really curious. I do love these guys, the way that they sound. I love Winston's voice, so we'll see how we go. This is called Glitch. Cool.
Sleep deprivation, trial 7. Subject 0, lie down.
Cool sculpture. That was wild. Oh. Jesus Christ.
I feel a glitch in the cortex, like a ghost in the shadow. Got the devil playing my tricks.
Interesting lyrics being that I was just about to name check Akira because of the teddy bears, the creepy bears. Interesting vocal style so far. I know we're only 2 lines in. I'm going to jump back. But I'm getting Rage Against the Machine vibes rather than Parkway, right? Heavy riffs though. The production sounds great.
I feel a glitch in the cortex, like a ghost in the shadow. Got the devil playing my tricks. I feel a dread close in like the walls of a cell. I cannot sleep. I cannot hide. I cannot take. No more now on the dark side of my mind. I close my eyes to sleep. The shadows speak. And they won't stop when I'm awake.
that riff. That's cool. Tasty.
Head like a shell shock, but it flows like my heart stopped. Rim waves got my limbs locked down, but my eyes wide open. Sheer terror manifests before me. I cannot sleep, I cannot hide, I cannot think. Living this way on the dark side of my mind. I close my eyes to sleep. The shadows speak, and they won't stop when I'm awake. Everything they say was seen, disappear inside of me.
I feel like there's a new genre forming, right? And it may have been forming for a while, but with albums like sort of like Posthuman by Bring Me the Horizon, this like the new Korn stuff as well. It's kind of like this thing where a lot of these bands that used to have their own sort of flavor and their own sort of culture, they don't know where to go now because they've all sort of evolved out of that metalcore scene to some degree, and they're sort of like finding a new place in this kind of world of super heavy riffs, motif driven guitar, like that sort of guitar riff that's in there is like melodic. It's there. It's almost like a sample, right? And it's kind of like all of these bands are just sort of trying to find this niche in a world where electronic music and loop-based music has become such a thing. And so, you know, it's real sort of EDM in its composition, but it's still effectively produced traditionally, right? If that makes any sense. But the production's stellar. It almost, and again, it's this future grunge kind of vibe as well, where it's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of Motionless in White that I did recently, and things like that. There's just this new genre sort of happening from the tail end of all of these, or the current sort of zone of everybody's careers coming out of like, that emo, screamo, metalcore, deathcore, cyberpunk kind of thing, if that makes any sense. I may be way off base here. You guys know better than I do, but like I just see this and it's a hooky chorus, which is, again, Parkway's been doing that for a while. But his vocals through the verses are kind of a little bit more on the rap side of things, which I'd associate more with Ollie Sykes, right? Because he has that sort of hip hop flavor to some of his delivery, like British hip hop, sort of like the turns of phrases that he uses and the sort of the language and also the rhythmic language that he uses. His pentameter as he's rapping has a certain flavor to it. And I'm feeling a little bit more of that here. But what's interesting though is he's using this high fry kind of tone for his rapping, which again, my first instinct after the second line of the song was it's Zach De La Roca from Rage Against the Machine. But he's underpinning it with also some low growl sort of tones. If you listen really carefully, I think, where are we? 141. If we jump back to like the first verse. So you go, like a ghost in the shell, and you've also got like a ghost in the shell underneath it to sort of make it sound a little bit more aggressive and thing, not quite as whiny as like the tone. I mean that, I don't mean that in an offensive way, but with Zach and Rage Against the Machine, that was part of his shtick, was that sort of, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. It's this right up here kind of fry kind of thing, which is almost like a high spoken word, compressed nasally sort of tone. Yeah, like up there. And so like, what's he say? Like a ghost in the shell, right? And then under it, you've got this, like a ghost in the shell. In the cortex, like a ghost in the shell. There's at least 5 or 6 vocals there. You can hear them panned. It's like a ghost in the shell, like a ghost in the shell, like a ghost in the shell. It's just everywhere. But it's cool. It's like double tracking vocals. You want to have impact on that line, so you just pump it up, right? And it sounds amazing. It really does. Like I said, there's no qualms about the production in this. It's really good. Let's jump back ahead to where we were up to. I'll jump back a little bit. So 137. Head like a soldier. That's bears, man.
And they won't stop when I'm awake. Everything they say was seen feeds the fear inside of me. Let it feed the fear inside. Help me take this pain away. Sleeping.
Even listen to that, man. Sorry, I hate breaking down in the hook, man. But like those backing vocals even sound like Jonathan Davis. The fear inside. You know how he always had that sort of like lumbering kind of backing vocals behind everything? Love that digital glitch effect. That's really cool. Come on, that imagery, man.
Everything they say was seen feeds the fear inside of me. Let it feed the fear inside. Help me take this pain away. Sleep is now my enemy. Now it feeds the fear inside of me. It's the fear inside of me. I cannot sleep. I cannot hide. I cannot take one more night on the dark side of my mind.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Wow. Hang around after the break, man. I got some stuff to talk about with that one. That's really cool. Hey guys, today's video is brought to you in part by Skillshare. Now, anyone who knows me will tell you that I have way too many interests and hobbies. I'm also what's known as an autodidact, which means I'm largely self-taught, but my interests vary wildly amongst an entire gamut of disciplines. Disciplines ranging from things like music production, composition, video production, YouTube content creation, 3D printing, 3D modeling, electronics, woodworking, drawing, painting, graphic design, computers and code. The list just goes on and on. And in order to become proficient in all of these disciplines, it's taken me a lifetime of skills gathered piecemeal here, there, and everywhere. By and large, it just takes so long to develop a skill level in any of those individual things. But it ain't the old days anymore. And today we've got services like Skillshare, a service that provides you with near limitless amounts of information for one small subscription fee. Seriously, all of their curated learning modules and lessons and classes, they're all available at your fingertips. What if you're a graphic designer and then one day you just need to learn something very specific in the world of spreadsheets? Your Skillshare account has you covered. And the courses are all curated, meaning that there's a standard level of competency required for anyone to be teaching a course. And the best part about all this is Skillshare offers free trials. So all you need to do is click the link in the description. It'll take you to their site and you can start learning right now. Or, like wait till after my video. But either way, look, Skillshare. One of the interesting things I wanted to talk about with that one is no matter where you feel like Parkway is in their journey from your perspective, like whether or not you think maybe they're not as hardcore as they used to be, or whether this sort of stuff's right up your alley, to me, it's just, this was fantastic. I was a huge fan of this one, just running through it. Need to listen to it a few more times to really sort of get the gravity of it. But one thing that's for sure, compositionally, from the perspective of songwriting, they took something that was actually quite big and brash at the beginning and still somehow managed to find room to let the song build. Because after, in that like third act sort of part where, you know, that's all fire and brimstone and darkness, that was, they kicked it up a notch. They still found room to sort of bring it to the next level of aggression and dynamics, and just, you know, kept it interesting while still managing to weave those hooks through there as well, so that you're still singing the same hook that you sort of got, you know, earwormed into your mind, like with the first two choruses. It's just really, really clever writing, or if not them, maybe the producer had a hand in that. I don't know, but it's, to me, that's where bands like this shine. Bands that have been around the block a few times, they really know how to craft a song, or at least craft the song that they want to hear, or what you know, the kind of song they want to produce, rather than just letting fate take the wheel and just come up with a cool song. You can get away with that when you're a young, hungry band because the passion and everything's there. And, you know, the genre sort of helps guide the hand of the artist to a degree. But when the genre starts to fall apart around the band and becomes different things, you got to find your own way. And a lot of guys struggle. And then other bands find that all of that experience that they've gained from that long period stretch, where they sort of had the concepts and the ideas and stuff were kind of implied, right? Now they've got to come up with their own things. They've got that experience to be able to just go, you know what we should do here? Let's take it up a notch. Let's leave, you know, these guys have performed in front of enough crowds to know what works and what doesn't in a stadium. You know, what gets the crowd motivated? What do they want to hear? And you want to keep producing songs like that because you want people to always come to shows and walk away like they've had the best time of their lives, right? I look at these guys as being a spectacle that you'd have to go see live. Their albums are probably great as well, but having seen them like live at Wacken, I think it was one of the videos I reacted to, they're definitely a live band. They're the kind of show you want to go to and say, I was at that Parkway show, you know? But they know how to piece together their art in a way that keeps it energized for the entire 4 minutes and 31 seconds, you know? And that to me is a thing of beauty. That's really cool. Now, as far as the song goes, I liked it. I really did. I know that there's some people out there who won't, but there's some people you just can't please. In my case, because I'm not super invested in Parkway for the length of their career, I can just step in. I have the privilege of walking in and going, I'll just cherry pick what I like, you know? It's the same thing. I've just started listening to, believe it or not, I know Melody probably won't believe this, I just started listening to Slipknot. And I'm finding so much stuff there that is, you know, maybe not the favorite songs of the diehard fans, but for the people who are like more cursory listeners like me, there's some really big songs that jump out. Like Duality is an amazing song. And I recently did Psychosocial. Again, I told my friend I did Psychosocial, and he's like, oh, you picked a terrible song. I'm like, I loved it. It was great. It wasn't what I expected to hear from Slipknot, and I enjoyed it. And that's what's going on here. I walk in here. This is kind of like cutting edge, sort of tail end metalcore. You know, it's like the latest thing. These guys are setting trends along with a few other key acts about where to go next, you know? And, you know, the fun thing about being involved in music is trying to speculate where the genre is going to go next. Because if you can figure that out, you can pave the way with gold, you know? But yeah, so that's always on my mind, what's next. And I think this sort of thing gives you a lot of those clues. But anyway, that's about all I got time for. If I feel like I brighten your day at all, feel free to just support me by either, you know, buy me a coffee. There's a link in the description, or you can hit the thanks button underneath the video, and that allows you to donate directly to the channel via YouTube. So that's a new thing that's just happened. If you're not aware of it, it's pretty cool. Also, so many people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I'd love it if you could join the community. We do a real diverse cross-section of music here, but I try to sort of stick within 3 or 4 genres of extreme metal, classical, and you know what? A lot of people are finding tangents, you know, in amongst all of that ephemera that they like, which is really cool. I'm here to support diversity in music. Stay primal. I'll catch you on the next one.